Let's see what's stuck on this drain plug. Whoa! They're teeth. They're not shark's teeth. Bugger. Now I was dreading this part, getting the CVs out of a diff housing this bent. I knew with the knuckle on, I was no chance. Check that out, the knuckle's out of the way. Have a look at that. Might need a longer shock, eh? Obviously the knuckles are coming off anyway to put on the new housing, and even so, I had to pry this thing with a bar. What a punish. Ew. So as we know, and this being an example, things don't always go to plan. So I had these put aside for when I get my portaled 79, but the 79 rears fit up front here. So we'll check for length, and we may have a new pair of shocks for the front of bullet, donated by the 79. They're the same size. So it's a pretty long shock. Yep, the same length. Perfect. Last week it was a transfer case, wasn't it? This week a diff. Even this part of the housing, this feels difficult to pull out. So the bend in it, I think some of the studs are bent too in the position that they should be. We'll just have to get a screwdriver and help here. Unbelievable that the housing is stopping the center coming out. There we go. What do we got? Ah, it's a tooth missing. Okay, so getting it right out and spinning the pinion for a little bit, there's half a dozen teeth there missing. So that's where it was getting to and not driving. We'll go fishing. Woohoo! Okay, so it's the back hole that we want to go back into, and that's our locating plate. So that's the one. I might tape that to the spring so we remember in a week's time how it all goes. Now LN106 parts these days are very hard to get hold of. It was actually fellow competitors at the URC round, Hayden and Tilly, that put up this front housing for us, donating it to Team Bullet. Many thanks, guys. Hopefully I can repay you one day. Definitely see that this here's got a curve where that there is blatantly straight. We'll get it to Adams, he'll brace it up. We've got to machine a little bit out of the bell here for the bigger CV to fit. See how it's touching as you put it in? The long fills are just a touch bigger, so we do grind back, machine back that, so that you do get a bit of room. Whereas that one there is tight and touching. You want to be able to get it in there and spin it freely. It also looks like that end has a bend in it to the eye, whereas that one seems a lot straighter. So the whole thing's had a hard life. So I guess that's the reason why they do put a bit of a triangle brace between the housing and the end. Shell said we got a parcel. Roadrunner to the rescue again. So we got a length of flare material. That's to actually make the dual cab a bit more legal. We're driving that a lot more. Another length of rope. That's to go on bullet truck. It got caned on that run that we had to winch all night, plus hitting rocks. Alright, what's this? This is the remote control that I want to run on the dual cab, which is Bullet's old winch. So they've set up, so we got to wire this to a plug, and then I can use the remote control on the dual cab. So these are what we're sweating on, the 456 nitros for the 80 front. And what this is the trail gear output shaft. So we didn't know what brand that one is that we just put in, so we organised a trail gear one to probably put in that, or to have a spare for if and when the other one breaks. They're not really that big, are they, when you see them on their own? And here's the output shaft. It's actually got RCV and the part number on it. Interesting load, this one. 4 37-inch treps and a broken diff. Fairy drop. Poor Bullet. So why, you ask, are we covering Bullet up? We got 2 weeks to the next event. Well, I got taken away for a week. Shell and the kids took me away for my 50th. And what a ball we had. Great Barrier Reef, snorkeling, boat rides, river rides.
Hey. Oh, what a feeling! You look like you've done it before. How was that?
Turn around, you're gone. All in all, a once in a lifetime holiday for me. What a family I've got. Now we're back and we need to get Bullet on the trailer ready for woodpecker. So while we were away, Adam had the housing, he knew what he had to do. Brian had a bit of work to do as well. He had to put together the diff we broke, plus we needed a spare. So we had a low mount Hilux center, 456 gears, and he set up a pretty cool limo that we may need one day, may not. So it's going to be in the spare parts box. Hopefully never need it. So that's going to be our spare front now. That's just your low mount standard Hilux 456 diff. But what we've got, because we've got that long slip tail shaft at the front, we've got enough length to run a normal low pinion setup. So I've got Brian to put the 80 series flange on that to suit the 80 series uni that we run in this tail shaft. So Brian's always been pushing me for the 80 front housing. So circled here, the main reason, those machine flats on the bearing caps lock into the front housing. Now that stops the bearings separating under pressure. Brian loves the nitro gears. The numbers are always spot on. There's awesome contact and he's got the backlash down to 0.08 millimeters. So much depth. The Toyota backlash is between 0.13 and 0.18 millimeters. And these can be wound down so much more. So here we see perfect contact, forward and back. Brian's got the bearing in the press, just to give an example of when the bearing knows that its life of luxury is coming to an end. So just when Brian thinks he's got Bullet all sussed out, we go and surprise him. We put a 0.14 millimeter bend in that pinion shaft. So we got the housing back, it's braced at the front and on the top. We've got these gussets here on the ends. We've got the hydro assist ram bracket on and it's ready for some paint. He's also strengthened the bottom shock bracket. They always tend to tear off. A lot to do this week. 6 sleeps till the woodpecker come. But an important visit we needed to do out to Penrite Oil. Now we needed to collect our next order, which had some vital fluids to get Bullet back on track. And the kids here sporting our new tops for the upcoming event. So the drivers and navvies are going to be wearing these at the Woodpecker Challenge. So weather doesn't look too promising for this upcoming event. Here's a couple of pictures of some of the stages. Now we were lucky enough to compete here at the On All Fours Challenge. So some of these tracks are going to be very similar. Now the track organisers have done a lot more work on them. But Bullet Truck, running in the outlaw class up there, we were lucky enough to win that event outright. But I'm sure that the track organisers have accommodated the buggies in this next 2-car challenge. So we will be a little bit out of our league, I believe.
Blue and yellow, mister.
Go the Eels. You like my shorts, my hat, my socks. I don't want to put my jumper on because I'll get it dirty. And the colour is, and I forgot to mention earlier, we've got a little rock cutter on the front here, a little mohawk. So when we drive into things, we don't get caught on it anymore. How do you like that? And the colour is blue. Maybe I should do that little mohawk yellow, match in with the theme for the weekend. We're in the grand final! So what do we got? We got Today's Tuesday. We've got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we compete Sunday. So we've got 4 days, and I'm painting an empty diff housing. We're going to be busy. But first job's going to be to get this housing on. Before we hook up the airline, what we're going to do is I'm just going to blow it out, make sure there's no stuff in it. Now I'll hook it up and check for air leaks internally. Turn it back on. And we'll just leave that on for a few minutes. Make sure we don't get any leaks out of it. So just siding stuff up as I bolt them on. That's the one that Adam fixed. And then the driver's side, I bolted it up and then looked back. And it looked crooked. You can see it's crooked there. I hadn't noticed that before, but that's broken as well. So I am going to have to run the Bilsteins. The Bilsteins are about 30-40 mil longer. So not long now before the next event and our next little series. We'll get Bullet Truck back together and on the trailer and up to S.O.R.R.A for the Woodpecker 2-car challenge. Hope you enjoyed this little info video. And as always, thanks for watching.